Okay, thank you. Welcome to the Grue Room Show, and thank you so much for taking time and coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Definitely, definitely. So, like, the first thing I wanted to ask you is, what made you want to direct, produce, and pick, in my opinion, the greatest rock and roll band of all time, Bon Jovi.
Well, John approached me, so that's even cooler. In this case, John had seen something I'd done a few years ago. I mostly have done stuff historically in the sports space. We'd done this thing called Man in the Reno with Tom Brady that really looked back at his 20 years of success on the football field. And John said, "Hey, so I saw that, big sports fan. Tom's pretty good, 20 years, not bad. I've got about 40. We've never done our story. Would you be interested in being a part of it?" And I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Yes. And he said, "But your company's called Religion of Sports." And I said, "Nah, don't worry about that. We'll figure that out. I got this." And off we went. So,
Oh wow, that is so awesome. Like
yeah.
like you're the one that got approached by John. Like
Yeah.
that is really awesome.
Yeah.
And how far back does it go? Like does it go to the start of them up until now, or is it like from a certain era until now?
No, it's like right to the start. So, the band really starts in 1981, I think, is when Runaway and then the band gets pulled together to promote, it's supposed to be 3 weeks, it turns into 40 plus years. Actually, 1983. Shoot, I should get my date straight. Like, I think the story starts there. It also goes even further because it's like you got to know this kid who grew up in New Jersey and, all of that. But then it really meets the current moment because not only is the band still together, but in year 39, which at the time is when we started making this, John was struggling with his voice. Something was going on, and that sort of became. I was really what he originally wanted to do, just a retrospective looking at the 40 years. But when I sort of started to observe what was going on, I was like, John, this matters. Like we got to follow this, and he was willing. Which again, like this was a real partnership and collaboration. So yeah, it goes from all the way back to the current moment.
Oh wow, that's so cool. Because like it goes back to when John was playing the little local clubs in
Yeah.
Jersey, and then like you were saying when his like voice was starting to go a little bit, and what was it like to actually like sit down and talk to him and hear all these stories about the past and about like the voice thing and the current stuff?
It was fun. It was also, moving at times. It was inspiring. I mean, look, John is incredible and he's gifted, but I would say the gift isn't the voice or the hair or, like the swagger. The gift is that work ethic that way. And you see it back in the day. You see it in the origins of the band when he recorded Runaway and everyone was like, yeah, I don't think this is that great. And he was like, no, it's great. And if 10 doors slammed in his face, he was going to find an 11th door to slip through. And that's the same guy today, even despite all the success and fame and wealth and all that stuff. He's the same guy grinding away, trying to figure out this thing with his voice, trying to get back on the stage, still writing, still just produced a new hit song and new hit albums coming and all this sort of stuff. So like I'd say that was the thing. I mean, it's impressive and just like it's awe-inspiring, but also just like yeah, like really motivating in a way. And I think that was the thing that I took away from it.
And what another thing I love about John, besides like his voice and his music, is he's like a really decent person. He's a good person. He helps out families. He helps out Philadelphia a lot. And like how what do you think about like all the good stuff that John does besides the music?
John's still the blue collar kid who knows his roots, who grew up in New Jersey. He loves to wear on in the shows that I was with him, the New Jersey versus everybody t-shirt. And I think that's like you can take the kid out of, New Jersey or South Philly and but you can't take that out of him. And so he's got the chip on his shoulder. He knows where he came from. And the Soul Kitchen is just such a huge initiative of his and his wife Dorothea's. And so I think he's very grounded in that way. And I think you can feel it in not just him, you can feel it in his music and his shows. I really admire that about him.
Definitely same. And the last thing that I'm going to ask you is, what is your all-time favorite Bon Jovi song?
A tough one. It's like, I mean, like everyone else, I've probably sung, Living on a Prayer and Wanted, and I love Wanted. I recently watched Young Guns and I was like, oh yeah, like this is great. I will say, John would definitely want me to, shout out his new song, Legendary. Pretty good. But there's so many stuff. I didn't know probably that John had done a country album, and then that's great. So Keep the Faith. It's too much. It's like hard to choose a single one. But yeah, it's been fun to refamiliarize myself with that whole catalog.
Oh yeah. Well, thank you so much for taking time and doing
Yeah,
the
of
show.
course.
I appreciate it.
Likewise.